I've literally been trying to make this video for like 2 days and it keeps getting deleted. But I was almost scammed on Actors Access. I'm gonna walk y'all through everything so that you can be aware of the check scams that they be trying to do out here. So boom, I was reached out by this person named Eula. Now this isn't how the original email looked because somebody reported them. And they put that it was currently under review. But initially, this person named Eula Ross reached out to me for a campaign shoot. They just wanted me to submit my pictures and information to that email, which I did. So then they said I've been selected, and I realized that it was for Anthropologie. It was an editorial shoot for Anthropologie. So I read over everything. Everything looked really well. Nothing suspicious in this at all. They just wanted me to pick out 2 days between the time period. And yeah, the compensation was pretty good. It was a campaign shoot. They was going to use it for a year. They just needed me to basically provide them something for the style and planning. So just my name, address, zip code, blah blah blah, just simple things. I've done that before. Nothing unusual about this at all. So then once I sent them my information, like my address and all of that, then they said that they sent my contract and they were gonna pay me by e-check. Now let me say this: I've been paid in an unorthodox way by plenty of people, whether it's Zelle, Venmo, Cash App. So an e-check did raise my eyebrow, but again, I've been paid different ways, so it didn't send an initial red flag. What sent the red flag to me about this was number 8 and number 9. Number 8, they was talking about once I deposit my payment instructions, that I had to pick up a studio truck. And as talent, we don't do nothing. We don't pick up nothing. We don't go get no wardrobe. We don't pay for wardrobe. We don't do anything. You just show up and they pay you afterwards, right? So number 8, number 9, talking about picking up a mobile truck, that kind of threw me off. So I said, okay, the e-check and the mobile truck is 2 things. And let me also state this as well. No reputable company will pay you before the job is done. So if they already sending you a check and money and all of that, listen, they unless you know them, pretty much they won't pay you until after the job is done. Always remember that, right? So Spidey senses went up. I said, okay, well let me go back to see who initially sent this message to me. So because my Spidey sense was tingling, I went back to Actors Access. I said, okay, let me go back and read the message, the email, because I feel like I'm missing something here. And when I went back to Actors Access, the message was gone. I said, why did they delete it? Why did they delete the message? So the saxophone started playing. It was low, but it was playing. I said, I'm missing something here. Said, it don't feel right, Mike. I said, it's paying a lot, but don't let the payment fool you. Don't let it trick you out of nothing. So I said, let me go back to my email. So let me go back to my email. I definitely missed something here. So then I went back to my email. Then I saw my AI overview. Now, I ain't noticed it at first, but I went back and I read it because I said I got to comb through the entire email. I got to read it from top to bottom, figure out what am I missing. The saxophones is playing. And then I see Cone Talent confirmed details. Will send contract and payment soon. I said, who is Cone Talent? It's supposed to be me and Anthropologie. Who are they? And then I said, me and Anthropologie. Who am I talking to through these emails? Critical skills was starting to pick up. I said, who am I talking to? Because I kept saying, if you look at the bottom, I kept putting Dear Anthropologie Team. I said, let's turn it to Sherlock Holmes. I said, we got to figure out who Cone Talent is. So I go look up Cone Talent, and this is what I pull up. I said, now I've been signed to a few reputable talent management companies, and this ain't one of them. This ain't one of them. They ain't gonna put no pictures up like this. Lifestyle, all of it. They not gonna put a reputable agency. They not gonna put up no pictures like this at all. I said, No. The saxophone started playing louder. I said, they don't put these pictures, they don't pull these people's pictures off the internet, straight off the internet. And then I tried to press the little icons at the bottom, like Facebook and Instagram, to see if they had one of those. Guess what it does? They take you right back to the top of this website. I said, okay. I said, I need to do some more investigating. So then I hit them back. I said, okay, I got some questions. Because my spidey senses was tingling. I said, who are the individuals a part of this project? Could I have a list of names and the agencies they hired through? I said, what's the account department to confirm the validity of the check? I said, number 8 states I gotta pick up a mobile studio truck. Why am I doing that as talent? Then I said I couldn't find the agency. Even though I did find it, I said I couldn't find the agency. What's their purpose? What's their purpose in this agreement? Because what's going on? As soon as I sent that, they responded real quick. They said, this the website. I already found it though. Then they said the payment is valid and only a financial institution can verify a check payment. So have it deposited and let them process the payment. Then they said you have the mobile studio truck fee added to your first payment as stated on the job details and reason made known. Kindly read the job details again. I did. I went over 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. You ain't never mentioned that. That's why I put it. That's why I asked about it, because you never mentioned it. However, I'm already hip that I know it's a scam. I said, call me. So I took it a step further. I went to Chase. I said, y'all, my agency trying to pay me through an e-check, and I ain't too sure about it. They said, don't deposit that. They said I could look at it from here. You ain't even got to print it out. I could look at it and tell that it's not real. They said the logo not even in the right place. They said, and also, if you deposit that, your account going to be shut down, and you're going to be responsible for $3,900. I said, oh. Now, I already knew all of this. I'm just stacking the receipts, because a Leo. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stack all them motherfucking receipts. So now that I got all my receipts, I'm fully aware that I know that this is a scam. I said, could you call me? Call me at your earliest convenience. You got my number? Call me. Now, unfortunately, they didn't give me a call. I was waiting on them to call me so I could skip trace that number. You know, I used to be I ain't gonna tell y'all all my business. Anyway, listen. I was gonna find them, and I was gonna turn them into the police. Policia. I was gonna turn them into the police. Yes. But they didn't give me a call. I ain't have nobody that I was talking to. They wanted me to pick up a van. They wanted to pay me with an e-check. They wanted me to deposit those funds in my account and pick up a mobile truck. It was just too many red flags. So I reported them to Actors Access, which they reached back out and said that they had already been reported, meaning that they probably sent this off to everybody in the Actors Access data book. So look for those signs. Know that people aren't going to pay you before the shoot anyway. They're not going to pay you before the shoot anyway. If you a model or actor or dancer or singer, they're going to pay you afterwards. Hell, they may pay you 2 to 3 months afterwards, but it's going to be afterwards. It ain't going to be the same. It ain't going to be before the shoot. Okay? Never deposit a check into your account. Never, ever, ever. You better, if you do, it's gonna be on you. Okay? Now I hope this helped my people that's coming up in the entertainment space. Please share this, repost this, send this to as many people as possible so that they could be aware this is how people get you with check fraud. Okay? All right, I got to get back to work. Peace.